Bloody theatre in City Hall Square.
John, where are you headed? To the theatre. What's playing today? The Thief and the Traitor. Any wife living in mid-18th century Vilnius would probably already know that her husband was going off to City Hall Square to see the execution of two criminals. Public executions on the square were a true theatrical spectacle, performed on a special stage where the convicted would be beheaded, quartered, or play other parts in a truly bloody show, just like in other European cities at the time. It'd be interesting to see how criminal statistics might change in Vilnius today if punishments were anything like they were 300 years ago. For theft from a shop, beheading, for forging documents, burning at the stake, for rape, hanging. And despite such penalties, Vilnius newspapers reported a continuing increase in crime. 7 have been arrested and they confess that they were 60 men in their gang. They plan to rob rich homes. There's nowhere to hold all the criminals. The jails are full. The most lenient punishments were carried out at the pillory, what locals called the shame pole. This wooden post was also erected in City Hall Square and was fitted with iron hooks. If someone told you that Peter was kissing the City Hall hag, well, everyone would understand that Peter had gotten into trouble and had been tied to the shame pole. In the best cases, offenders would be left tied to the pillory for a few hours, enough for most city residents to have a look. Usually, however, that wasn't enough. Thieves had their ears cut off and those who enjoyed getting into fistfights were whipped. There were even punishments as severe as 500 or 1,000 cane lashings. The blood-stained post required frequent washing. The most severe punishments were reserved for murder, forgery or witchcraft, treason and renouncing the Catholic faith. A man named Jabis, for example, who had murdered his own mother, first had to endure the executioner's torture by pincers, then had his right hand cut off and was eventually quartered, all in City Hall Square. Another peasant, who had killed his own 2 children, met a similar fate. Stealing from a church was also considered a grave crime, punishable by burning at the stake.
A tailor by the name of Kozlovsky learned about this the hard way, after stealing liturgical items from the Basilian convent. Straw, tar, and 10 carts of firewood were hauled into City Hall Square for the man's execution. The most horrifying sentence was being broken on a wheel. After their bones were fractured, victims would be tied onto a wagon wheel and then lifted up high at the end of a long pole as a warning for everyone to see. Over several centuries, City Hall Square saw quite a few of what we might today call high-profile executions. The traitor and former judge Jonas Viktorinas Giedraitis was quartered there. The nobleman Gregory Ostik lost his head there, accused of being paid to spy for the Muscovites. Muscovite prince Danilo Myszecki lost his head here as well, as punishment for his 2 years of service to foreign occupiers and the hundreds of city residents who died under his rule. Commander of the Lithuanian army Szymon Kozakowski and Marshal Ignacy Shveikovsky were hung in the square as punishment for rebelling against the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and its king. The next time you sit down on a bench in City Hall Square to eat your ice cream, listen carefully. You might just hear the moaning of executed criminals rising up from beneath your feet.